Real Talk is collegiate interest entertainment. Mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. And spoilers ahead.
Alright guys, it's gonna get weird. It's me, your boy. Like, comment, subscribe! So, like most of you who are probably watching this video, I saw Nosferatu. I awkwardly went with a friend and we were watching with corpses together, sitting next to one another. Maybe we held hands, I don't know. So I guess we gotta talk about where Nosferatu originally came from, or I guess you could say Dracula? Nosferatu and/or Dracula comes from Vlad the Impaler, historical figure from, I want to say... Yep, thank you, Dustin, for putting the text at the bottom. So he was notoriously known for having a mustache. Okay, that's where the mustache comes from in Nosferatu. Congratulations. So the thing about Vlad the Impaler is, I know that in Atlantic City a couple years ago, probably a decade at this point, there used to be an exhibit with Vlad the Impaler, where if you stand on a little wooden deck, it would pretend to drop you into a spike pit. Anyway, Vlad the Impaler, that's where he got his name. He would just impale you, I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. Dustin, thank you for putting the text at the bottom. I really appreciate it. The research that was done in this movie, Nosferatu, was obviously relatively accurate. As far as vampires go, I guess. But the scene with the horse and the lady apparently was real. Didn't know that until my buddy told me about that. So, now you guys know. So I guess, alright, let's go a little bit past what happened in real life. The real life 7-year-old boys dressed in white on a horse driving to a grave, and they would impale the vampire. Vlad the Impaler and the whole entire vampire myth more or less inspired this book, Dracula. And if you've ever taken a high school English class, you've most likely read it. I didn't, because I graduated high school with a 2.2 GPA. In my adulthood, I read the book, and for the most part, it is so boring. It is so unbearably boring. One, it's written, unlike most narratives, it's letters back and forth between characters. And you go through this whole adventure about, like, this professor who's, like, a professor of the occult. And nobody challenged the Professor Van Helsing the entire book. They would always be like, "Whoa, how do you know that?" And Van Helsing would just be like, "Oh, it's in a book or something." What? Whatever. This book, Dracula, is what I would consider first-person horror, okay? So modern-day equivalents to this would be any found footage movie or, mockumentary kind of stuff. But I would consider Dracula, more or less, the first found footage movie, even though it's not footage or a movie, and it probably wasn't found either. I would argue that Nosferatu, the movie that just came out, is the most accurate portrayal of the book of Dracula that has ever come out. The close second might be Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, with Gary Oldman as the titular character of Dracula. One of my takeaways from the book, I must admit, was the fact that at the very end, I personally felt haunted by it. But not for a reason that most people would probably expect. I felt bad for Dracula. I know that sounds crazy, but here's the thing. Dracula as a character more or less had no agency. He was a victim of his own baser impulses. He was a creature of consumption. He would drink the blood of human beings for no reason other than that's what he needed to do to survive. Yes, he killed and he maimed and he did a whole bunch of deplorable things, but the thing is, he himself was an animal. And he was put down like an animal, a rabid animal, and that's sad. Even though a dog gets rabies and starts biting people and infecting other people with rabies, isn't that sad? That's sad. Back in the day, Dracula was not public domain, so a couple of filmmakers, German to be exact, came up with the idea to create a Dracula spin-off, I guess you could say, where they created whole new characters, but more or less it was the exact same story as Dracula. There was a whole big lawsuit with the owners of the copyright of Dracula, suing the people who created Nosferatu and deleted the print. They wanted to destroy the print of Nosferatu. Push came to shove. Somehow Nosferatu survived. We don't know how. Well, at least I don't know how. But now we have the original print of Nosferatu from 1922, even though it should have been deleted. And the reason I bring that up is because in the context of modern day filmmaking, those of you who for some reason like Tim Burton, that's what he owes his entire filmography upon. People who think, oh wow, Tim Burton, he's just so different. No, he's not. He stole everything he had from German Expressionism, which is a branch of filmmaking from the 1920s. You can quote Metropolis and Nosferatu and a couple other others. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, I think that's also another one. But these are films with harsh lines and very obscure characters, and usually about some form of a misfit being attacked by society. Now, with all that out of the way, now we can talk about the 1930s. We're talking about Universal horror monsters here. So we have Frankenstein, which I can't wait to talk about that. It is one of my favorite books of all time, unironically, as well as, the Wolfman, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, so on and so forth. The modern depiction of what we would consider Dracula would be from Bela Lugosi. The reason that Bela Lugosi was cast as Dracula is because he was some vague European descent. But here's the thing, him as a character, that Dracula that we know from the 1930s, that suave, slick back hair, that's not what the character is in the book. In the book, he's like a feral being. He has scraggly hair for the most part, he's like kind of feral and just kind of, I don't know, more of a John Raffici type person. But our modern depiction of what Dracula is more or less the Bela Lugosi iconography. And that's just not the case of what's in the book. Also, side note, one of my favorite movies of all time, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Oh my god, that movie rocks. Alright, we're moving on. So, like I was saying about German Expressionism, like the harsh angles, the shadows, that kind of a thing, obscure character motivations. There are two major things that stick out to this Nosferatu rendition. One being the hand that stretches across the city. In a lesser movie, that visual metaphor wouldn't land. Modern audiences wouldn't accept that. They would see that as so hokey. When you think of Halloween, you think of cobwebs and spiders and this and that, and it doesn't make you scared anymore. You think of like a child's playset, werewolves and ghouls. These are not things that strike fear into people. I would argue Freddy, Jason, the Scream Killer, Ghostface, those don't scare people anymore either. Maybe Michael Myers does, but those don't do it. Modern horror is usually some kind of a demon thing. And it might not last. What I'm trying to say is, generationally, the horror iconography does not translate. But this, Nosferatu, has transcended time, and it started in the 1930s and went all the way, basically 100 years, to where we are right now, and it became scary again. The reason that hand over the city, that shadow, works so well is because it's a visual metaphor. One, Nosferatu was literally holding a grip over the city, okay? He was spreading out and infecting the city. And the second thing is, I don't have a second thing. Now, the reason I am saying that this interpretation of Nosferatu and or Dracula is the most accurate to the book is because of a single line of dialogue in the movie. And you probably already know which one it is because it's absolutely outstanding how it was delivered. Alright, I'm going to actually try to do it. I am appetite, nothing more. That line in particular stayed with me. In that line, Nosferatu admits that he is void of love. The line could have ended with, I am appetite. Okay? He could have been lying to the Lily Rose Depp character and saying, I am a lustful creature and you lust after me, that kind of a thing. There's a whole other plethora of ways to have delivered that line. But that second part of that line is the most crucial. I am appetite, nothing more. Nosferatu is claiming in that line nothing spiritual. He is not saying he is capable of love. Another thing about this movie that most others shy away from, the necrophilia and the child murder and all that stuff. Other movies, lesser movies, the kids always get away. Nah, not here, baby. Now, coming to the the actual movie review portion of this segment, pretty good. Like, comment, subscribe. In this movie, absolutely everyone killed it. This goes without saying. I would like to say, obviously, Bill Skarsgard just killed it. He does amazing work. He did a good job portraying it. I know that one of my friends, who will not be named, hated his interpretation of it. I thought it was good. I really liked it. But him in particular, in The Devil All the Time, if you haven't seen it, watch it. In The Devil All the Time, he was absolutely outstanding. In this, Skarsgård killed it. Now, this is a criticism, but also a praise at the same time. So, as the title of this video suggests, Nosferatu poked the hokey. Okay? Lily Rose Depp did something interesting that I didn't see coming, and it actually lended itself to the film itself. Lily Rose Depp's performance in this, at times, was hokey. It was. It went a little over the top, but let's be honest, this movie was going way over the top. Okay? But it lends itself to the movie because of that single shot with the hand. This movie was willing to take risks, and I absolutely love it for that. So, the director, Bobby Eggs. So, it is very obvious from his filmography that Robert Eggers, Bobby Eggs. It's very obvious that Robert Eggers just absolutely loves history. The Vivitch, or the Witch, I don't know how to pronounce it, I don't care. Obviously steeped in history. The Northman, the original telling of Hamlet, obviously steeped in history. His entire filmography seems to just like bask in the glory that is history itself. Also, something that I will say about his directing style is he presents his works as if it's another world. I put Nosferatu and the Vivitch and the Northman like within the same like outlandish world building as Star Wars. It doesn't feel like we're looking to a window of the past. It seems like in these movies this is a romanticized version of what the past was. And another thing that Bobby Eggs did differently, in the book it's kind of like jumps around to the first person's perspective is, but Bobby Eggs, what he chose to do, which I find absolutely fascinating, was he chose to make the Lily Rose Depp character the protagonist of the story. I found that to be absolutely fascinating. Brilliant choice to do that. So essentially what happens at the end of the movie is the Lily Rose Depp character goes back to her ex-boyfriend, even though he's abusive, and the boyfriend, or fiance, or husband that she had now is like, "Where are you going?" And then she gets killed by her ex. So I don't know what the moral of this story is there, but that's what happened in the movie. Thank you for listening to me yap. For you Gen Zs out there, or even younger Gen Alphas, I don't even know if you should. Wait, why are Gen Alphas watching this? Get out of here. This is Nosferatu. Get out. We don't want you. Thank you for being a part of my book club. If you haven't read this, sorry, spoiler alert for a book actually that was written, I don't know, probably 200 years ago. Spoiler alert for that. If you're a high school kid trying to do a book report on Dracula, congratulations, you're welcome for this. Okay, who else? Cinephiles. Yeah, no, I agree. This is a great movie, right? Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut. This was a sequel to Eyes Wide Shut, so